right.
Welcome to Silverstone eSeniors GT3. It's me and Jonathan. And Jonathan sits in our pace car, and we're going to see that in just a little bit. So welcome, Jonathan.
Yeah, thanks, Krista. Good to be here.
So just going to go through the platinum and silver standings here after 2 races. This is an 8-race season. And next race is going to be Valencia. So Peter Wolfsländer, he is in the lead, and as you see, we're crossing off the worst results are going to automatically removed from the total. So Peter Wolfsländer, Chris Moses, Steve Young, the top 3 in the platinum group, and the silver group is Randy Zimmer, Lee Ellis, and Brian Banks. We have a split group, as you see, and we have qualifying going to be 30 minutes with first silver driving 15 minutes and then platinum 15 minutes, and it's a 1-hour race. So yeah, without further ado, get on track and look at our beautiful pace car. And we see on the pace car here we have a really cool livery created by Nikos, our favorite livery creator, and we have our sponsors on there. So we have Sim3D on the roof, and Sim3D creates really cool sim equipment. So if you want to have some really nice handcrafted sim equipment, look no further, go to Sim3D, check them out. If you're into cool, I guess you could use it for cosplay and whatnot, Castle and Cauldron, they do really cool stuff such as wands, kind of Harry Potter style wands, and you can find them online, I think on Etsy or on Facebook. And then Syndeo, that's our third sponsor. So they are a high-tech company, so they're a technology broker, and they specialize in voice contact center and cyber security solution for businesses. So you don't have to go out and Google and find the duds and so on. Syndeo will have you set up for the best solution for your business. So yeah, that's what we have on the car. So really grateful to our sponsors that provides funding that makes this happen. So Jonathan, how does it feel out there on the track? It's pretty hot on the qualifying, and we're going to see the temperature is quite lower on the race.
Yeah, so qualifying is at 2 p.m., so 2 in the afternoon, so pretty high air temperature and track temperature. But then the race is going to be at 8 p.m. So, you know, the temperature is going to drop significantly and probably drop further during the race. So I'm just expecting that we're going to see race times easily as quick as those qualifying times. But you know, this pace car is pretty cool. As you can see, it looks fantastic with all of our sponsors, our logos all planted all over it. Of course, it's that AMG. I literally just sat in it this morning for the first time. It is a handful. I just came out of the pits and let Mr. Obando by, and he promptly spun and crashed. But anyway, so here we go. I'm going to do a lap with you guys. We're going across the start-finish line. This is the old start-finish line, of course, with the Formula One used to start. Then going into Copse, which is a very, very fast turn. I'm not going to be going at full speed here because I'll just embarrass myself because I'm completely out of practice. Then you've got this amazing Beckett section, the left, the right, the left, the right again. You've got a really compromised entry to get a really, really good exit here. Then going down the hangar straight. Of course, you know, Silverstone is an ex-World War II airfield for the Air Force, the Royal Air Force. Very, very famous. We come down here into this next right-hander, which has been tightened up over the years. It used to be pretty much flat out in the 1980s, but they've changed the circuit so many times. Then this next section, which is pretty much a left turn hairpin followed by a right. You've got to really get on the power here as early as possible and keep your foot down into this next section where you see there's a sausage curb on the right here. You touch that sausage, you're going to be off and you're going to be pretty much game over. This is the Hamilton straight, goes into a right-hander again here. which is very, very quick, and then a left-hander. These are all new sections from the last 10 years. Once again here, very, very tight corner. You've got that sausage curb on the inside, and then another one with a horrible sausage on the left here. This is a very, very slow turn. You really have to nail that exit. You know, you can get a really, really good lap, and you get to that point, and then you completely lose the apex and ruin the lap. This is the Wellington straight. Really, really good opportunity to overtake going into this left-hander that is very, very slippy, slidey. You can take really good advantage of the car in front. This final right-hander here is Brooklands, and it's like we're waiting to get back on the power, and then that is a full lap of this Silverstone Grand Prix circuit.
All right, well done. Yeah, it's a really classic circuit, as you mentioned. It's 18 turns, it's 5.8 kilometers, that's about 3.6 miles, and the racing has started after the war. Like you mentioned, this is you can actually see the track layout. Actually, you can see the two of the runways if you look at it from above, and 1948 is when they started racing here. So classic grounds. So you're staying out of the way here, Jonathan?
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Oh,
there's that bloody Obando again.
Yeah,
he's trying to hit me. I've got my fist like shaking out of the window at him right now.
So welcome, Frank. I see you on the stream. There are a couple of guys on the stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate your support.
This sure is a track where you need practice. You know, I've literally not touched my rig in like 5 days, and I'm so very out of practice. I'm literally all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't really know why I'm even trying to go quickly at this point.
Yeah, thanks for
just trying to keep it on the track.
Thanks for the feedback there, Frank. Yeah, this is the pre-show that we plan to do on these tracks with Jonathan going around and give us a kind of in-depth commentary as we go through on the race. So yeah, pretty exciting.
It's funny, it looks like I'm actually going pretty quickly, but I'm about 8 seconds off the pace at this point.
Yeah, wouldn't it be fun if you put out the best lap or something like that? That would be cool.
It's not going to happen, Krista. Yeah, you're going to have to pay me a lot more than you're currently providing for me to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the guys in the Porsche Cup cars yesterday, the pole time was in the 202s, and we're expecting for the GT3 time to be closer to like in the 157s, I believe.
Yeah, that's probably reasonable. Yeah, I was racing Porsche Cup, and I was super pleased. I did went into the 203 on my basically put the fastest lap or my personal best in the qualifying. So that's all you can ask for when you do qualifying. So I ended up P6. I was super happy with that.
Yeah, very good.
All right, Terry, welcome. Jay Lima, I'm not really sure who that is, but welcome. And don't forget, like and subscribe. Oops, I put that over my... I need to move that little subscribe thing. Yeah, like and subscribe, and if you hit that little bell when you subscribe, you get notified when we go live too. So that's always good. Don't want to miss the action. We're doing broadcast on Fridays, Porsche Cup, and then Saturdays on group. Well, we call it now Platinum and Silver. And you're gonna see it on the timing tower. The silver, that's kind of the gray numbers, and the platinum are the white numbers. I think it's just about to start. Yeah, here's qualifying. Now we're doing the real deal.
Yep, so the pace car, the safety car, is going to exit and come back in with just to commentate.
Yeah, and we're going to see the silver cars going out first. And I'm gonna configure my leaderboard.
Let's see who went out first. So number 770 is out first. So here we have the silver guys who are going out first in this first 15 minutes. So just to recap that, we have these two splits, silver and platinum, and the silver guys go out in the first 15 minutes to qualify, and then they'll come in, and the final 15 minutes will be the platinum guys, which are the faster group. Like, not that much faster, but they are the faster group. So this way, we have 42 cars on track, but this allows us to basically make it a little bit fairer, a little bit more straightforward for everyone, so that we don't trip over each other. But these are two separate championships being raced on the same track in the same race.
Yeah, a little bit to get used to during the race. You have to think a little bit. You don't really race the other group, so if they, you have to think your strategy, and don't race the other team, because that, or the other group, that doesn't really do anything for you.
Yeah, exactly. If you're racing against somebody, if you have somebody behind you who is basically in the quote unquote faster group, there's really no point in fighting them, because you're not fighting for points. All you're fighting for is your own honor, right? Because you don't want anyone just to let people go past you. But that's really the deal. And we did see last week in a few different occasions where we had cars fighting against each other and taking each other out, taking each other off the track, and they had no business fighting with one another, because they weren't fighting for points or positions in their respective championships. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, so I think in the silver group, I think we obviously need to keep an eye on the guys that performed really well last race. Lee Ellis is a really strong diver. He had a P2 and the first race a P1. So
he is, but for some reason he's not very strong in qualifying, is he? So we've seen that. We saw that in the pre-race race, the practice race a few weeks ago, and then last race he did it again, and he just drove through the field.
Yeah, well, actually, he had a technical problem, so that's why he got in. He couldn't really qualify. So
okay.
That's what happened.
I did not know.
Yeah, that's what happened. So we're gonna see what times we see when we actually start to get some hot laps on the board. The only complaint I have to my broadcast software is that it doesn't show me the silver and platinum groups, so I can ask that to hunt around and see who is putting up some time. I want to find
Randy Zimmer. Randy Zimmer just went over the line, and he just went through Cop's corner. So really just started the lap. He's now going through that Beckett's and Maggots complex really, really fast. If you ever watch this in Formula One, they just zip through this. It's just insane speed.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this track in the Porsche Cup. It was really, really nice.
Yeah, I tell you what, this track in the Porsche Cup, there are some corners where you really can get on the power really, really rather early, and the fact that you don't have any traction control doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of difference. It's quite difficult to spin it.
So Neil Leader has put down the 201.2, so like you said, we're gonna expect quite faster. I don't know the silver group though. What we're gonna see there? We're gonna see maybe a 159 or so. I don't know.
I want to say that we'll get in the low 2 minutes. I would hope for a 159 from someone. But I guess we shall see.
Yeah, we follow Randy to the end of his lap.
Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty solid lap so far. Hasn't made any big mistakes. He's pretty well planted on the track, coming down the Wellington Straight to this final complex.
Craig Holmes says 1:59.5. Craig, you should be on the... You dropped out of this. Sorry to see that.
No, he's group. I believe he's group 1. So he's just watching the stream.
No, Craig actually.
Huh?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm confused. Craig Holmes. Yes.
So it's a 2 minutes 0.8 is the target time. So that's Randy Zimmer's banker lap, and we have Charles as 0.1 behind.
And
then
Lee
Neil
Ellis is
Leader.
about to finish his lap, and he's up 0.8. So let's see what he's gonna do. He gonna get the good time here.
I think a lot of the platinum drivers just sit there watching the YouTube. They watch the
Yeah,
stream.
no, that's true. A good thing. Sit there and collect yourself. Go to the bathroom. Pre-race toilet. Yeah, Craig Holmes. Good strategy there. Pit stop.
Beats having a commode, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, Lee Ellis is flirting with the fastest time. Provisional pole for Silver. Fantastic livery there, very appropriate with the RAF livery here at Silverstone.
Absolutely, that would be very, very apt if he were to win this group.
Yeah, and as you see on the timing tower, once in a while it blinks like on the driver that has fastest lap, but he's under the fastest lap right now. So let's see what comes in. He did get the fastest, 2:00.06. That's a good lap. See who is try to challenge him. Brian Banks is up half a second. That would give him come up in the top 10, a little bit further up in the top 10. He sits in P10.
Yeah, he's a second and a half off of Randy's
and Simmer
reference
just
time.
did. Simmer did a better time than Ellis. So 2:00.05. It's just 1:10. That's splitting the top drivers now. Ja, vi har Liliana Nove Paolo's wife. Let's be on first name basis. It's easy for me, Paolo. Yeah, really good job there, Nikos, with the pace car. We're gonna showcase that in the races as we go through the season. Next race gonna be Valencia. So we're doing 15 minutes for the first group of drivers. You see on the track, it's all the silver drivers. You see their number plates on the timing tower are silver colors. And here we see their current lap times coming up, circling. Antonio Ferreira is up 0.4. That would put him up a little bit in the top 5 at least.
Yeah, he's half a second up right now, and he's going to go to P3.
P3.
Barely a tenth off. So we've got the top 3 within a tenth of a second, and in fact, Ferreira on this next lap, he's improving already, and he's not even through with the first sector. 0.2 up. Like tippy-toeing through maggots at the exit, going down the hangar straight. He's got 0.2, but now Randy Zimmer has improved again by 0.4 of a second. So now he's got half a second on both Lee and Antonio.
And Zimmer was the winner at the last race, Nürburgring. Okay, this
is the inside curb there. He's now 0.3 up. Well, he's lost a lot of time there. See that spot where I was mentioned earlier on that you've got to get on the gas and stay on the gas? He unfortunately had to lift, so he got he lost all of that time that he had built.
Did not improve.
But having said that, he's improving again. So he's now taken the time back. So I think, you know, just by looking at the first two sectors of what's going on back and forth, I think Antonio has at least half a second in him to improve on where he is. So he does have pole position quality time in him for sure.
Yeah, Willie Owens did a great run. He's up to P11 now. We followed James Parks for a little bit. He's up to P7. 4 minutes left to drive for, looks like most of the guys are.
So it looks like Antonio is improving. He's going to go into P2.
Coming over the line.
Yep. P2 right there.
Yeah, P2.
And Lee Ellis is still sitting in the pits, so I think he may be just happy with where he's at. Got to take into account here that, you know, there's going to be pretty much half the grid is going to be ahead of this group. So pretty much anything can happen. So no matter where you are, you know, there's no. Are there points for a pole position, Krista?
Yes, it is. You get 1 point.
You get 1 point. Okay, so that at least that's the Whipham for Randy Zimmer. But I think Lee is probably saying, well, you know, first, second, third, fourth doesn't make a whole lot of odds because there's so many cars ahead. It's just going to be a matter of staying away from the carnage. 1 hour race, remember, so there's a lot can happen in the space of an hour, and you can't win it on the first lap.
Yeah, the first turn, that is not that tight, so it's more about probably being kind of overcommit and you go wide, or maybe you get the door-to-door and you go wide. That's what I foresee would happen.
We've seen so many wrecks here, haven't we, in the past? I remember not very long ago we had 3 wide going into turn 1 on lap 1, and it was just an absolute mess. And it just takes one person to not respect the space of the other two, and then you just get you just get carnage basically.
Stuart Charles, one of the new drivers, he's up in P5. Good showing from him. Gonna see. He ended. He didn't race, or he didn't place for points rather last race. And before that, he placed P10. So if he gets into a P5 start here, that's a good showing for him.
Interestingly, James Parks in P8, he set actually the fastest first sector. The fastest second and third sectors are owned by Randy Zimmer. Well, that tells me that James is going to be a danger to everyone in front of him right after the first turn, because that little straight going from Copse to the Maggots complex, the Beckett's complex, that's where he's going to be able to overtake. So everyone keep an eye on James Parks. Looks like almost everyone is in the pits right now. We've got Willie Owens, Richard Colombe, Brian Banks, Aaron Shannon, and Stuart Charles all on track. Everybody else is sitting in the pits.
Yeah, Brian is up half a second, so he would move up a little bit if he can keep this. He's one of the few drivers of an Audi, if he is the only one.
Yeah, the Audi, it's not like a poor man's Porsche.
It was pretty popular for a while, but...
I'm just talking in road car terms here.
I think Audis are pretty cool. I like the big sedans.
Yeah, a lot of power, that's for sure.
And Stewart is up half a second, so strong driving by him. He might be able to get
Richard
up to
Colombe
P3.
in front of him.
Let's see where he is on the helicam. It's up 0.4 so far. That would give him P2, I think.
Yeah, I think it might give him P2. Yeah, he's done a good job here in this last section.
Yeah, going tight, fan out a little bit, get on the throttle.
back on the gas. He lost a 1/10 of a second, unfortunately, on that last turn. He was a little bit hesitant on the gas, but this is still going to get him up to P3, I believe. No, P4.
P4.
Good job, though. Great
yeah,
job.
Strong.
All right, so the silver guys are now done, and now it's turn for all these platinum fellas to get out onto the track. We see they're already on the track. They're actually halfway around. They're being led by, where are we? Number 17. Who is number 17?
17, Don Queen. Don Queen is first. Yeah, Frank, he's there. It's just we show the timing tower shows 20 at the time, and we have 42 drivers. So as we pan around, we'll see where they are. You can also go to our pit wall. I'm gonna put that on the chat. So I'm putting the pit wall link if you want to look at that one, because then you can pan and see the times however you want them. It's a good service. All right, let's see when they start to get going.
Yep, so Don is just starting his first lap.
So we expect to see something in you said 157.
Yeah, so I think we can expect to see Peter Wolfschleiner possibly in the 157s. I know he's been flirting with them. I know Chris Moses is definitely capable of it, but I heard him saying that, or at least I think I read it in the Discord chat, that he hasn't been practicing quite as much as he needs to, and he doesn't feel that he quite has that pace. But I think he probably is going to be the closest challenge to Peter. And then, of course, you've got Sky, Steve Young, who will be challenged. He of course, is our reigning GT3 Group 1 champion. I'm actually sitting with Peter Wolfschleiner right now in his McLaren.
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to put myself in the cockpit for the... Yeah, we always fanboy a little bit over him.
Yeah.
It's a good reference, though.
He's the best reference, isn't he? Because he's pretty much the fastest guy. Since our first race with at eSeniors, he's been the guy to beat.
So Nikos, the 42 cars, that's silver and platinum together. So I think we have about registered, we have 20 cars in silver and 30 cars in platinum. Not everyone can race for various reasons. We're getting into the vacation season as well. So a good group of people online. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Following Mr. Wolfschleiner.
I'm curious to see what this lap is going to turn out to be.
So Johan Larsson just put the 159.0 on the board to start with.
58.5.
Yeah, 58.5 here, Wolfschleiner. Great job.
Yeah, so to put it into context, Randy Zimmer's pole time for the silver group is 1.6 seconds slower than Peter Wolfschleiner's first flying lap. That's not to say anything negative about Randy Zimmer, because he's a quick guy, but Peter is on a different planet, with the rest of our aliens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting, Johan Larsson is barely half a second slower than Peter. They're both running in those McLarens.
Yeah, Johan was flirting with the fastest time there for a second, but he lost a little bit of time.
So top 5 is Peter, then Johan Larsson. Randy Zimmer is in P3, but we'll ignore him for a moment. Peter Larsson, is it Peter? No, Patrick Larsson, I'm sorry, in P4. Robert Obando in P5, which is really P4. But this is very interesting, though, isn't it? Because all of these Platinum drivers, they've done one lap. But, you know, I guess it probably takes at least 2 or 3 laps to get everything warmed up and get everything, like, really, really gripping. So you can expect that the second and third laps are where you're going to see the biggest improvements.
Oh, and the Driscoll goes off.
Oh yeah,
Brad Mayers, he was P4 he sits P4 in the championship driving the Lamborghini. So he didn't place, or he didn't drive last race, but his first race he placed P2. So I mean, he could be a contender. See if he gets get up to speed. He's currently a little short to do something really spectacular. It's up. Well, now he's up to second.
So I'm looking at Chris Moses. He's currently sitting basically P39. He has not posted a lap. I was just running with him and he went out of bounds, so he's back in the pits. Now he's come back out. He's not going to get too many shots at this. We've got 8 minutes left on the board. He's going to do an out lap, and then he's going to do a warm-up lap, and then he's going to do a fast lap, right? So I think he's got only 1 or 2 shots at this.
Yeah, and Brad Maris goes up to P3. So he's a contender. Sylvain in P4, Steve in P5. He's improving his time a little bit. But yeah, it's interesting because Moses, he's doing a lot of work on his setups. We saw a post there in Discord talking about what he's doing with his setups. So I guess if you have it nailed down, it's all good. But if you come to race day and it doesn't feel good and you start to mess with it, that's difficult.
Yeah, you can totally bollock up your setup, and you basically panic. You know, you've built a setup throughout the week, and then you get here on race day, things don't feel the same, then you start messing around with it, and you completely bollock it up. I've been there and done that myself. So 3 guys who haven't set a time yet are Mark Stevens, Chris Moses, and actually Don Queen. He hasn't set a lap either.
Yeah, following Laszlo, up 0.6. Gonna get him into the 159s. And yeah, P9 for Laszlo. Just above the 159 though. Craig Holmes comes in a 159.9 in P10.
Yeah, I think he was saying that his goal was a 159.5, right? What he was looking at. See, Chris Moses is just about to start his first proper flying lap, which ultimately probably won't result in, you know, his best time. I'm thinking that he needs a good 2 laps before he does that. He did a really, really good exit out of Copse. Now as he enters Beckett's, really commit to that inside curb there. This right-hander, you have to compromise a little bit in order to get a good exit and going down that hanger straight.
Yeah, I found it so important to get on the apex on the right there, because otherwise you lose time if you go out there.
Yeah, this is a classic apex circuit. You know, there aren't many racing lines. There's really basically one fast line.
Yeah.
missed that apex a little bit, and you can see he lost a tiny little bit of time. This right-hander, I just can't figure it out. Yeah, he's got on the curb, which is good, but now he's run a little bit wide, and he's going to have to lift a little bit. Yeah, he had to lift for the exit, otherwise he would have run completely over. It's a very, very difficult turn, that. Once again, you have to compromise the entry just a tiny little bit in order to get a good exit. He ran a little bit too deep on the entry, so his exit, he had to lift. He's now the only one who has not posted a time. But hopefully this one will count. But this was his first flying lap, so I'm expecting the next one to be better.
Yeah, so he effectively only won maybe 2 laps to do a really good hot lap on. This is not even a banker lap, I think.
Yeah, so 159.3. It puts it in P6, and he's actually stopping. He is stopping. I mean...
Interesting.
Which is interesting, yeah. Is he going to make a couple of quick changes and then go back out? Because if it was me, I would have just carried on and done another lap, because it's going to take... It takes a couple of laps.
And here we see Zimmer's time is in P16. Yep. So he did a really good job. But like you said, so, we see the platinum floating up in the top now on the leaderboard. Yep.
Yeah, so now Chris, he went back into the pits and he made a couple of changes, and now he's back out again. So he knows where he needs to gain time. For sure, that exit of that series of corners after the Hamilton straight, going past the new pits, that is definitely where he lost an absolute boatload of time. He's at 1.3 seconds down on Peter's Wolfschleiner's reference pole position. Peter is flirting with 157s. He posted a 158.085. Paolo Nove also, he was late to the party as well, so he hadn't posted a valid lap until maybe a couple of moments ago, and he's sitting in P5.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. We have his wife watching, so I want to give him a little screen time.
Yeah, we should have her in the commentary booth.
Yeah. Talk about Paolo as a person. Who is he? He do have a nice livery created by Nikos. I don't think that's an easy livery to create. I think that's what Nikos told us before. So Paolo is on the run. He might get P4 if he keeps this up. Ahead of him he has Brad, who is up on his time a little bit. Craig Holmes is up 0.8. See where he is in the running in the Thunderbirds Audi.
I'm watching Chris Moses. He's just going over the start-finish line right now to start basically his final lap. There's only 1 minute and 20 seconds on the board, so this is his only chance.
And he dropped down in, yeah, Craig Holm in P3 right now.
Wow, that's awesome.
And Paolo in P6.
Great job.
So let's switch over to Chris Moses, currently in P8 in the BMW.
Wow, that's an amazing lap from Craig Holmes. That's brilliant. P3.
Yeah, 158.8. So we didn't see any 57s. However, Peter is on a fast lap, but he's just barely. Brad is at 0.8 right now.
Holy moly. Yep. And he's only 0.9 off of pole. Chris Moses is not improving. This is not a good lap from Chris at all. He's not going to be happy with this whatsoever.
He is behind. He's not going to improve.
Now he's coming up to this section where he kind of made a mess of that last flying lap. Let's see if he can nail it here, because that's probably his only opportunity to gain a bit of time. And yeah, you see he's gaining the time back there. He gained.
And Brad Meares comes over the line. He's going to go provisional pole. Did he? No, he didn't. He must have disqualified his lap.
Yeah. He went at track
on the
limits.
Very last turn. Wow, how disappointing.
Yeah, that's disappointing, but it does mean that he has the pace to be at the front. So that means that we have a race.
Yeah, definitely.
Now Chris Moses is back in the green. He's at a 1/10 of a second up on his best time. Now 2/10 up. 3/10 up. So this is going to be good enough for P5 or P6. I want to say P6, P5. Yeah, well, P6.
All right, P6. Brad is up 0.2. Savannah 0.3, which would move him up a little bit too. Oh, that Lamborghini really looks good.
Daniel Britos just improved from P22 up to P18. Randy Zimmer's time, by the way, from the Silver group is good enough for P18. P16, rather.
Yeah, so once we're done with the season, it's going to be pretty easy to kind of tabulate the performance of the different drivers in the different groups and see if we need to realign.
Yeah, Willie, ditto there. So, you know, Chris Bourne and John Saunders are definitely very, very sorely missed here, especially, you know, with racing at the sharp end of the grid. Let's see what the best splits were here.
Yeah, Maris is up 0.3. Is gonna... Yeah, Maris in P2. Look at that run.
Yeah, amazing.
Really, really nice.
So Johan Larsson has the best first split.
Very nice.
34.9. Yep.
I'm gonna go to the restroom real quick. I'm putting the track walk just for entertainment. We really talked about the track, so I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'll do the same.
Yeah, well, I'll put the pause screen on.
We'll be back after a quick commercial break.
We'll be back.
Time has changed. It's 8 p.m. It's a beautiful summer's evening at Silverstone.
Yeah, there is some pretty crazy lights that that you're gonna have in your eyes.
Yeah, when you basically aim towards Beckett's, you see the sun setting. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
So the grid looks like this. So Peter Wolfschleiner, Brad Marys, Johan Larsson, Craig Holmes, Patrick Larson, Chris Moses, Paolo Nove, Sylvain Desart, Derek Bird, Steve Young, Laszlo Nemeth, Mark Stevens, Brian Chubb, Robert Obando in P14, Bruce Hopkins, Andy Driscoll, Randy Zimmer, which is the overlap with the silver group to platinum, Rich McKay, Danny Bridos, Terry Trowbridge, Ollie Linortner, Uwe Tolan, Peter LaFrance, Andres Ferreira, Don Queen, Lee Ellis in the McLaren 337, Stuart Charles, Neil Leader, Stephen Buckley, Mr. Jeremy Arabas in P30, Joe Messick, Peter David in 32nd, James Parks, Brian Banks, Aaron Shannon in P35, Mike Molesky, our other commentator, in P36, Richard Colomb in P37, followed by Willie Owens, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. McClellan, Mr. Lawrence, and Mr. Vasconcelos in P42. Great mix of talent, great mix of cars. This is going to be a cool race.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Wolfschleiner. He's going to run away in the beginning, I'm sure. But then the rest of the grid, who knows what's going to happen.
I'm not sure what I'm more impressed with, the size of our grid or the fact that I knew almost everyone's first name without having to look to check.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get my streaming assets view working.
I'm going to be looking backwards from Peter Wolfschleiner's car so I can see the rest of the grid and see what's going on. I do love this time of the evening with ACC. It really does show off how good ACC can look.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm excited to see how Brad Marys performs here behind Peter Wolfschleiner, because I believe that Lamborghini could have the edge on the McLaren in a straight line.
Yeah, for sure.
Now they get the signal to go side by side. Coming into Brooklands. All right, Krista. Take us through the start,
here
mate.
we go. So we have Peter Wolfschleiner going to have the inside line next to him. Brad did a really great run, and Johan and Craig. So that's what we're going to see. And then Chris Moses. Let's see who's get the best start. Looks like Peter creeping up quite a bit there. Brad Marys and Moses is really chomping on the bits behind. So I'm looking at the first 6 drivers. And we're going to see a green light just as we come over the line. Right there, and there's the start. And here comes Peter Wolfslener. And Moses is pushing in the back there, trying to make something happen in front of or behind Craig Holmes. Looks like a nice start. Everyone comes out the way they should. Yeah, really nice. Coming through cold tires, through Maggots and Beckett's. Really strong, as we expected. Peter Wolfslener takes the lead. Johan Larsson is really pressing on Brad now. Is he going to do something? We see.
He is. He's taking a look around the outside, but that was a blistering start by Peter Wolfslener.
Yeah,
it really
looks
was.
like Trowbridge and Queen got together. Couple of accidents. Probably more. Yeah, I see like 5 yellow flags back there. Something certainly happened. Trowbridge and Queen.
Yeah, and Larson managed to get past Brad Marys. He really did force his way past.
Yeah, Chris Moses in P5. So I'm gonna set my timing tower to show what I wanted to show. So we want to see race gaps. Yeah, Mark Stevens, yellow flag on Mark Stevens. Probably just a little door-to-door. Good racing going on there in the midfield, P12. And here comes Laszlo Nemeth. Is he going to try to do something? Oh, we have contact Paolo. That was very optimistic. Young.
Yeah, it was.
Steve Young and Paolo had something. Got together, a little yellow flag there. Wolfslener stretching his legs, 7 seconds ahead of Johan Larsson. Then 7 seconds behind Larsson, we have Brad Marys, another 7 seconds behind Craig Holmes, and then Chris Moses. So these top drivers are really stretching out a little bit more than I thought we would see.
Oh, and Sylvain Desert just spun. Going through the Beckett's complex. He's lost three. He's lost 3 positions to Steve Young, Paolo Nove, and was that Sylvain Desart? No, that was Sylvain Desart. Yeah, he's lost three positions. Now sitting behind Derek Bird, Paolo Nove, and Steve Young.
Some racing going on around Ferreira, Don Queen, Peter LaFrance is behind there too. Mark Stevens. There's Don Queen in P21. Zimmer is the leader of the silver pack. Ferreira second. We had the guys that were involved probably in accidents. Here kind of mixing with the silver group.
And Craig Holmes is holding on to Brad Marys in P4.
Oh, Ferreira spun around. What happened? Let's see if we can catch him. Oh, yeah, that was the other accident we saw. Unfortunate. And Wolfslener keeps setting fastest laps.
He's Max Verstappen right now, isn't he?
Yeah, Chris Moses seems to have got a little pace now because he's up on Craig Holmes.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting his mojo back, basically.
Yeah, it's frustrating if you're in the qualifying. I don't feel you have the pace, and then you have to tinker. And I wonder if he tinkered anything with his race setup, or if he's more comfortable with that.
Well, I mean, Krista, plus, we're looking at very, very much cooler temperatures for the race. So if anyone's running their quali setup, then they're going to be in big trouble for the race. So you know, these guys all need to have done their homework, and you know Peter Wolfschlainer will have done his homework, and he will have a completely different race setup to what he ran in qualifying. So, you know, these guys all know this, you know, the guys in like the top 10. So hopefully, you know, everyone's done their homework and they're going to be able to put in some good laps for sure. Chris Moses has got the bit between his teeth. The last lap was a 59.7. Craig Holmes, his last lap was a 59.6. Brad Mary's a 59.3, so he's pulling away from Craig. Johan Larsson, his last lap was a 59.3, so about even Stevens with Brad Mary's. And Peter Wolfschlainer, he's on a different class. His last lap was a 58.6, so he's, you know, at least half a second faster, or 0.7, 0.8 of a second faster than everyone who's following him.
And I'm following Randy Zimmer here. So this is what we talked about before, because Randy has like 8 platinum drivers behind him. So he has no reason to race Bruce Hopkins that's behind him. So he would be better off just to focus to hit his marks and go around the track rather than try to avoid
well,
pass.
I mean, I think that's what he's doing, though, Krista, because, I mean, look, Bruce is behind him by like 0.3 of a second. If Bruce does, you know, poke his nose in there, hopefully he's just gonna let him by it and not fight. There's no reason for him to fight. But as it stands, you know, he's just minding his own business and he's running as fast as he possibly can. Otherwise, he's gonna have to, you know, literally pull over and let these guys behind, who he's not racing against, by him, which he doesn't need to do. And meantime, Bruce Hopkins is under pressure from Terry Trowbridge behind. Terry tried to get alongside there going into Stowe, but didn't quite make it. But he's definitely quicker than Bruce.
Yeah, looks very racy, and your buddy Obando is behind there too, joining the party of a little train of platinum drivers.
Yeah, and Uwe Tolen also is behind Robert Obando as well.
Oh, here we come. Here he comes. Here's Obando. He's gonna go inside.
Ooh, that's a difficult place to pass.
Yeah.
Guy in front really needs to let you, and I don't think Terry's going to let him. And actually, if we look at Robert's car, he's got a lot of scuff marks on the back, so clearly somebody's run into him.
Yeah, and the front too. So he was probably involved in something in the beginning. Let's see, what else do we have? Laszlo Nemeth on the Sivan.
Nikos, number 36 is Chris Moses. Somebody just went off. Who was that? Bruce Hopkins. Where he ran really, really wide at the Vale complex.
So are you using a race control now?
No, I'm just sitting in car with everyone. I'm just cycling through.
Yeah, you seem to sounded like you were so initiated.
I'm just trying to figure where the action is, you know.
And we seem to have had something with Don Quinn and Mark Stevens.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to catch Don as he falls down. Maybe that is... Yeah, here he comes. I'm doing a replay.
Here comes Robert Obando on Terry Trowbridge around the outside. They touch... They just banged mirrors there. And Robert had to lift off, but he was fully alongside. And now here comes Terry on Bruce Hopkins. He's going down the inside, and he says no. Bruce gave him as much room as he could without basically hitting him. That was really, really good close racing. Brilliant racing, actually, between these three guys. These four guys.
Yeah, I just followed Don Quinn. Did a very, very optimistic try to make a pass in lap 1, and that didn't turn out well. So he had an accident there. Oh, Brad Mary's, something happened with him. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, number 44. He is done. He looks like he's stopped. And he's gone back in the pits by the looks of it.
That's unfortunate.
Yep. Wonder what happened.
Simmer had quite a pace. He's working himself up through the platinum group here. He's on Mr. Chubb.
I am gonna take a look to see what happened with Brad Marys, because I'm very curious to see what went on.
Yeah, he might be on the voice chat too. Is he?
Let's see. So let's come around.
Mark Stevens sits in the pits too.
So I'm looking at this replay with Marys. He's pretty close to Larson in front.
It's Paolo. Give him some screen time. Currently running in P7. So the top field have really stretched out much more than I thought they would. Laszlo putting pressure on Sylvain.
So I'm assuming that Brad had some kind of issue at home, because he just literally just pulled off the circuit and stopped.
Oh yeah.
So he must have had something going on.
Oh, that's a cheeky pass there by Laszlo. Passing Sylvain. Well done. That's a little door-to-door. Gave a little yellow.
Hey, Robin is
marker
racing, right?
Yeah, that's it. I don't mind that pass at all.
I don't think it was a wheel disconnect, Nikos, because he literally just drove off the circuit and stopped. Probably a phone call or something. I guess we'll find out later.
Derek is now really challenging Paolo. Now we have this sun coming down, going to the cockpit here of Derek, so we can see the challenges as we come through. It gets really tricky in this in the next chicane, where it's really hard to see the braking point. And in the Porsche race yesterday, the flag was gone, or the marker was gone.
Don't you love it when people do that?
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, here, this is where it gets difficult. It's hard to see the brake marker. I used the start of the curb. Derek is pushing.
Pretty close between these guys. But still Peter Wolfschleiner, after 6 laps, he is in the lead by 4.3 seconds. From Johan Larsson. Then you got Craig Holmes in P3, Patrick Larsson in P4, and he basically is in front of this line of traffic, which is, so we've got Patrick Larsson, Chris Moses right behind him by half a second, then Steve Young not far behind him, followed by Paolo Nove and Derek Bird. So those 5 cars are all kind of line astern. And then Laszlo Nemeth is another 4 seconds behind that group.
Yeah, so when they go in for the tire change, they need to make sure that the pressure is up like 2 clicks or so, because it's going to be, I think it ended up, at Porsche Cup, I think it's like 21 degrees. And right now it's 23 degrees, so it's going to go down 2 degrees. So.
Yeah, a bit tricky.
Yeah.
You've got to do your homework, definitely.
Yeah, I had my tires perfectly tuned, so when I got the new tires, they got in perfectly. Yeah, Nico says, can Young do podium? Gain the most places between the top 15 so far. He's on a mission. Yeah, Steve Young is certainly on a mission. He hasn't really... I mean, he's a kind of good top 5 driver, but he hasn't really been on the podium. It's been, he did P8 in the first race and P2 though last race, so I shouldn't say he's not on the podium.
Oh, Laszlo Nemeth has spun, coming towards the
What happened?
the club
Oh, just oversteer.
club area. Yeah, going past the new pits. On the gas a little too early, I think. Moses on Larson. So where are we? So Moses is now like right behind Patrick Larson. Couldn't really get much closer. If he dives inside here, yeah, he's taken the dive. He's
nice.
gone inside. Yeah,
Good,
very
clean.
neatly done.
Yeah, I think he's getting into his groove now.
Now let's see how quick that he can do this next lap. Last lap was a 59.2. This lap is a 59.8. So, and that's due to the passing maneuver probably. But Craig Holmes 1.6 seconds up the road. So see how quickly he gobbles up that time, if he gobbles up that time.
Yeah, they're lapping about even. Last lap, just a 10th. Some reason I can't get up my timing for the driver I have down in my right corner. I'm gonna try and figure that out.
Also, sooner or later, they're going to come up against lap traffic. And, you know, when you're fighting against the car in front, and you're the car behind, that's what you want to see, because you want that opportunity. Paolo Nove now going on the outside of Steve Young. No, not quite making it. They're just heading out down the Wellington Straight. So Paolo has Steve and Patrick and Chris line astern in front of him. And also he's being challenged by Derek Bird behind. Derek got a really great run down there, but he had to lift off. I think out of this group, if anything, Derek Bird is the one who looks the most racy.
Yeah, Laszlo picked up one position to P11.
Derek is having a look on the inside. You can't pass there. But then that really... that faked out Paolo. Paolo went wide, but Derek was unable to capitalize on that mistake that he made. He really psyched him out, but then he wasn't able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Derek is really doing the right thing. He has focus on his Ferrari. He's not changing anything. I think he's been driving it for a couple of seasons now.
Billy, I think the air temp is probably like 23 right now.
Yeah, it is 23.
We still have 39 cars on track. It's great to see such an amazing grid.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm listening to Derek Bird's throttle application as he goes through that turn, and he's like just like feathering it ever so slightly. It's like he's massaging the gas pedal.
Yeah, he has such a feeling. Full of Trowbridge. Is he gonna make a move on Richard McKay? No, not yet. Fighting about the P25. See what else goes down.
Randy Zimmer is in 12th place, and so we'll carry on that conversation about, you know, what he's doing. So he's just maintaining speed. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 5 platinum drivers behind him that he's not racing with. but he's still, you know, there's still 5 drivers between him and the guy he's racing with in that silver group, which is Lee Ellis. But, you know, there's no reason for him to fight with the guys behind, but there's also no reason to slow down, right? So he's got Brian Chubb behind him, and, you know, if Brian can, you know, muscle his way through, I don't think there's going to be any argument from Randy, but he hasn't been able to do that yet. So kudos to Randy Zimmer, you know, running in 12th place. And he's really not dropping back from Laszlo either. He's 3 seconds behind Laszlo Nemeth, the next guy up, who's a platinum driver. And Robert Obando is behind Brian Chubb. He just got a really great exit coming out of the complex, and he's going down the hangar straight. Brian has taken the defensive line, but I don't think it's going to help him because Robert had so much speed going down the hangar straight. He easily passed him. It was like having DRS.
Yeah, great job there. Nice and clean. That's the nice thing with Silverstone. There's a lot of places where you can overtake without any big problem. And behind there we have Uwe trying to pass Brian Chubb. Is he got to do it? He's looking on the inside, tries to stay with the momentum. Yeah, Chubb goes wide. Oh, he comes in on track and he touches Uwe, but he was the loser in that. He went out in the grass a little bit. So, yeah, Brian lost 2 positions there. And Laszlo, in the meantime, up to P10, passing Andy Driscoll.
You know, they've changed this track so many times over the years. You know, in its original configuration, it was basically like 5 corners. And they were all flat out, and it was a bit ridiculous. And then at some point or another, they put in one chicane. And then they made that chicane more significant. And then I think in 1992, they made an even more significant change. But the current iteration of the circuit was done in the 2000s. So it has changed over time, but it's never actually lost, you know, its DNA, which is like super, super fast, when you have to have huge balls to like get around in with a good lap time and plenty of places to overtake.
Yeah, very popular track, I think, from all drivers that drives whatever discipline they drive. So here's Obando coming up on Zimmer. Let's see how Zimmer reacts on that. So Zimmer is pretty safe. That's Lee Ellis way behind.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Robert is definitely faster than Randy, and hopefully Randy will be able to see that. You know what, I don't need to fight this guy and just let him pass. Because Robert's fight is with Andy Driscoll 4 seconds up the road.
So the pit window is open. So we'll see when we will see the first pit stop come.
Yeah, you know, with so many cars on track, you know, you really don't want to be that guy who pits first, do you? Especially if you're a platinum group, you really want to be the last to pit, because you just don't want to come out of the pits into massive traffic, especially much, much slower traffic.
Yeah, very true.
I think all the platinum guys are going to be gunning for the massive overcut. Yeah, it is very difficult to pick a podium finish, Billy. I mean, for sure, you know that Peter is, you know, barring any kind of issue that he might have, Peter is, you know, shoe-in for the win. He's now 7.5 seconds in front of Johan, and in fact, Johan Larsen has another 8.5 seconds on Craig Holmes. So your top 2 are a shoe-in, but from P3 and down, then you've got a lot more can change for sure.
Yeah, a couple of guys goes in for the pits now. Hopkins and LaFrance. So Paulo is up threatening Mr. Sky. Interested to see also Moses if he is if his tires, because if he doesn't get his settings right on the tires, he might eat up the tires. But I think he's actually doing pretty good on time.
Yeah, no, he's the one guy that I would bet on to have all of his pit strategy figured out and the tire pressures correct.
For sure.
If anything, he'll be the one on the move after the pit stop.
Moses is pushing on Craig Holmes now. BMW versus Audi.
So this was actually the location of my first in-person Formula One race. I was 16. I went to see the race in 1988. That Senna won in the rain. Mansell finished second. I got absolutely soaked. I was freezing cold, but I was happy.
Yes. That's awesome.
And, you know, back in the day, you know, in the 80s and 90s, you could literally go to the track as Moses goes off on the exit of Beckett's.
And something happened with Derek, and see if I caught that. No, that's another incident.
Yeah, it was Derek, and he's got Steve Young behind him now.
Yeah, they had contact. They had contact for some reason.
Yep. So in the 80s and 90s, you know, there was only like 16 Formula One races per season. So between races, there was normally at least 2 or 3 weeks. And in those times, you know, there was unlimited testing for Formula One teams. So they would invariably be testing at Silverstone between races. And a friend of mine and I, we would go once in a while. We would just drive up to Silverstone, which was like, you know, an hour drive from where we lived in North London. And you would literally just walk in and you could go wherever you want and watch the testing. I mean, I spent hours and hours doing that. So all the big names was like, you know, trackside, very, very close. We've got some amazing photography from back in the day, but I wish it was like that now. Obviously now Formula One is so popular that they just can't do anything like that. Plus the restrictions and testing are ridiculous. But, you know, back in the day, for people who were purists, it was actually very, very accessible.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, they tried to make it accessible in the way that it's much more into social media and sharing what's going on, but it's still, I mean, the cost is just ridiculous.
Yep. Derek Bird and Steve Young in the pits, along with Antonio Ferreira and Craig Holmes. Interesting, Derek Bird and Steve Young, they both came into the pits at the same time. In fact, Steve nearly ran into Derek coming in. They're going to have a race coming out now. There's tons of activity in the pits now. Daniel Bridos, Uwe Tolan, Randy Zimmer is in.
Yeah, a lot of guys in the pits.
Yeah, Matthias, as a fan, as like a super fan, it was far better back then. It was just amazing. I remember once on the pit straight, watching Senna and Gerhard Berger from McLaren just on the pit wall, just having a chat, and I was like, you know, I was right there watching them as like, you know, Ferraris were going by with their V12 engines. It was insane. So Derek Bird on his way out.
Steve Young is out. And I'm gonna do a quick pit stop as well.
There's loads of activity going on. Uwe Tholen has Peter Lafrance, Daniel Britos, and Jose Vasconcelos. Oh dear me. Peter Wolfschleiner just whipped by Uwe Tollin. That was scary. I mean, he's really, really on a charge, is Peter. He's not messing around at all. He is absolutely scything through these back markers. That was scary. That was fantastic to watch.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, Nikos, Nigel really was like the man at this circuit. He was like unbelievable, fantastic driver. If anything, being at Silverstone for Mansell, it would like put an extra second in his pocket. I think that 1992 year when they had like, you know, the best car with that Williams actively suspended car, he was 2 seconds faster than Riccardo Patrese, his teammate, in second place. And Patrese openly said his guy just has huge balls, and it just made everyone like die laughing. But absolutely true. So meanwhile, I'm looking at the battle here for 29th. Uwe Tollin is just like, he's got so many cars around him. We're watching Peter Wolfschleiner on the screen right now. See, I need to pick him up on my screen. So we've got Peter. He's still to make his pit stop for tires. He's coming around the last. Yeah, he's coming into the pits right now. So Peter Wolfschleiner coming into the pits. Needs to get down to first gear. Don't mess this up, Peter. Okay, he's being a good lad. He's in first gear. I'm not sure it's not gonna have any kind of problems retaining the lead here unless he makes a really huge mistake, and I just don't see it happening.
All right, I'm back in the saddle.
Yeah, Peter is in the pits. He's just stopped making his pit stop.
Yeah, Larson too.
Yeah, Patrick Larson just made it in as well. Meanwhile, it looks like Sylvain Desert will pick up the lead. He's not stopped for tires yet. His Ferrari.
I went down to Circuit of the Americas. What's happened? Sylvain just went off track.
He didn't he? I'm looking to see what's going on, and
He is driving slowly off track.
it's showing him in P3.
Is he disconnected? No, he's rolling.
Sure.
He's just driving
Bit
off
odd.
track. How odd. Very odd. Is he fixing something?
Yeah, he's doing some grass cutting right now. I mean, he's doing a great job in cutting the Silverstone grass going down the hangar straight. But I mean,
Very strange.
I wonder what's happening there. That is very odd.
I was about to say I went to Circuit of the Americas, $160 for 3 days, and you just bring a lawn chair and you just sit where you can sit. And there's really good spots there. So Turn 11 is our favorite place, and
That's cheap deal as well.
yeah, 3 days. And then you pay $150 for parking if you want to park.
Yeah.
You know. But they
And
have
then-
really good shuttle traffic from Austin out to the track. So.
And $20 for a hot dog.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you want your $150 t-shirt. So that's up.
Okay, so in real life here, so we have. Is this really what's happening? Okay, it says Andy Driscoll is currently leading with Peter. So Andy Driscoll, he hasn't stopped the tires yet. Peter is 10 seconds behind him, followed by Johan Larsson. I have a stop and go, 30 seconds for number 146. Not number 196.
146.
146.
Who is that? 146, Melvin Schmidt.
They're currently on lap 16, Dennis.
Yeah, what lap times? Okay, so they're running lap times. I mean, we see in 159s when they just done just done their pit stops, but I think the fastest lap right now is 1:58.7 by Peter Wolfslener for race pace.
Yeah, you know, the top 8 have really settled down now. There's a good distance between each of them. Well, Peter has 9 seconds on the leader, who will be in the pits very shortly. And then another 10 seconds further back is a Johan. And another 10 seconds to Chris Moses. And Craig Holmes is almost 2 seconds behind Chris. So fairly spaced out right now. Chris going inside James Parks to lap him. Sylvain Desert is sitting in the pits, basically. I guess he must be done. Looks like he may have had the same issue that Brad Mary's may have had. It's just something going on in real life.
Yeah, very odd.
James Parks letting Craig Holmes past. I think Craig will have closed up a little bit on Chris Moses.
Hey, Dennis Hyde, thanks for joining. Yeah, I mean, 204. Just practice. That's the investment. Oh, it gets very crowded here in the midfield with Obando, Trowbridge, Onlino. Oh, there. Obando gave Britos a little push. And Obando
He's going to like that, isn't he?
Yeah. So, but he waited. He did the right thing. But now he's up on Britos.
Bruce Hopkins is having a big battle with Messick.
Very, very tight there.
The outside of Messick. See if he just got hit. He just got rammed. Vasconcelos. Okay. That was a ram.
Let's do a little replay on that.
Yeah, I'm sure the stewards are going to be having a look at what happened there.
Okay, we're watching in the replay. Oh. Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, it looks like he didn't like the way he was overtaken. And yeah, that is a mess right there that the stewards are going to have to take a little look at. So make a note, lap 16.
Or, yeah, was it 16? Yeah.
It was either 16. We're on lap 17 right now. But it certainly did look like a little bit of road rage going on there. And a few other drivers were basically in the way. So one person's road rage basically took out 3 other drivers. And Vasconcelos is back in the pits. Yeah, Nikos, I just call it the way I see it. There's no point. I mean, I'm a pundit, but there's no point in being politically correct here. It is. It is what it is. We shall see. We'll be looking at it after the race.
Yeah, and also we really only look at the first lap, but if there's something egregious going on, we're gonna look at it, obviously. All right, it's pretty spread out, everyone. I don't really see any close battles. Here's McKay tried to do something with getting up to P16, where we have Jeremy Arobas.
Andy Driscoll still has not stopped for tires.
I think he's normally very, very late on his pit stops. I think I remember that.
Well, he now has Peter Wolfschleiner bearing down on him. Yeah, Nikos, that was the slowest turn on the track. So, for me, that's not unintentional. Number 53, a stop and go penalty, 30 seconds.
Oh. Yeah, so that's a little karma coming. Racing karma, maybe. Oh, La France. What happened with La France? Oh, he got a little unstable there and just slides off. He doesn't hit anything. That's good.
Yeah, Melvin Schmidt and Jose Vasconcelos, they both have 30-second stop and goes.
So Zimmer holding the lead in the silver group with Ellis about 8 seconds behind. It's pretty safe as it's less than 19 minutes remaining. It's Peter David and Neil Leader. Neil looks very racy. Or is it Stefan Buckley? Yeah, there's Buckley there in the red car. Try to come through here. There's a whole gaggle of cars. Buckley and Tolan and Trowbridge are the trailing Platinum drivers. Here we go. Look at that. He's coming through like butter. Very nice. I think the other guys really just let him come through, which was a really good move. While Peter David and Leader is battling it out for P22.
Yeah, meanwhile, Robert Abando managed to get by Daniel Bridos. Thought maybe that would become a little bit spicy, but it didn't. And I saw one Jeremy Arabas. Jeremy is being challenged by Rich McKay. Rich really got a really good entry there, but...
Oh, he slid off McKay.
Yeah, I think he went a little bit too deep on the entry. That's why, I could see him from Jeremy's point of view, but he went down there into Beckett's clearly too quickly and couldn't make the exit. Number 53, disqualified for speeding in the pit lane.
Oops.
Yep.
Well, that's took care of that then.
It did take care of that, but still, if we ever see any kind of road rage incidents, they are looked at and appropriately dealt with, because we don't want to see that kind of thing happening, race after race. It's not cool.
Absolutely.
Just got a little bit darker around Silverstone.
Yeah, we basically going to finish the race in during night.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis on the chat there is racing on console. That's how I started too. But I found that there was just so much extra you could add to the racing experience on the PC. So I bite the bullet and got the PC.
Yeah, I bit that bullet as well. When COVID started, I'd been a console gamer and a PC gamer for the longest time, but always on a console for racing games for sure. I was in that Gran Turismo group of people, and then Forza on Xbox. Played a lot of Forza 3 online with a bunch of folks back in the day in the 2000s. That was always a lot of fun. But yeah, this is on just a different planet.
So Uwe Tolan looking really racy. He's passing Neil on the inside. So Neil Leader, we have to look at his, this is actually something he did himself, he said, this gorgeous livery with the Tartan and Black Bull sponsor on it.
Yeah, he must have listened to us on one of the streams,
yes.
Like suggest a tartan livery, because that is like really cool.
Yeah, he actually sent me a message and said, look out, because your suggestion was I took it up and created this tartan livery. So yeah, I thought he's so good, so I thought it was Nikos, but he said he did it himself.
Do you think he's listening to bagpipes music
Probably.
at home? Probably, yeah.
It would, maybe I'll find a bagpipe sound clip and I'll put that on when we have him in.
Please don't. Please don't. We're trying to get sponsors and we're trying to get people to watch our streams. So I think that'll just scare them away.
It's like my little clip with Timmy.
Timmy! We love Timmy.
Timmy! Oh, there was a little contact there with Peter LaFrance and Roberto Bando getting frisky.
And we've got a really good little group going here, 19th through 22nd.
Oh, and Daniel Britos went off. Okay. He just went unstable.
Yep.
Unfortunate.
He's cutting some grass right now.
He's still out there.
Yep. Oh, and he's taking out the brake board.
He tries to come back safely.
Oh, yeah, he's all over the place.
Oh, yeah, that is.
What's he doing?
He's trying to get back on track, I think, and it's like it's just all these cars.
He's like Kimi Räikkönen, like getting lost at in Interlagos.
Yeah, but I appreciate his careful. Oh, he goes into pits now.
Yeah, now he's pitting. But he's still off on I think maybe his steering is broken. He's just all over the place, isn't he? Yeah, he can't steer properly. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see him hit anything, but maybe he did. In the meantime, Peter Wolfslander is lapping people. See how he's gonna be able to negotiate this. He's passing this green car. Who is that? Oh, he's really trying to get past him. Yeah, there you go. He lifts there. Very nice.
So there's a really nice little battle there, and it's mixed classes from 18th and back. So you've got Stefan Buckley sitting in 18th. He is a platinum driver. Then you've got Stuart Charles right behind him, who is silver. Then Peter David, pretty close behind him, who's also silver. And then Uwe Tholen, who really wants to get past these guys. He's a platinum driver. Neil Leader behind him, and Rich McKay behind him.
Yeah, and Richard McKay has passed Leader.
Yeah, and Uwe just oversteered and lost a bunch of time.
An Uwe steer?
Uwe steer, exactly. Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
Major Uwe steer. Stefan Buckley waving his magic wand. That's what he likes to call it, but...
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear it's a 6-inch walnut wand.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's getting darker.
It is getting very dark.
Yeah, Steve Young has not really shown his real colors today. He runs in P7. Pretty stretched out group here, all the P10, or all the first 10 drivers. I hope Peter Wolfslander stays in the voice chat, because last race I talked to him to be in the voice chat and we'll interview him, but he didn't win, so we didn't get to talk to him, but this time I think we will.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna pull in the winner of platinum and silver.
So we have a nice little battle actually for position. It's P14. You've got Ollie Lenortner in P14 holding that down, and Jeremy Arabas pounding him. He's been like, no more than like 0.7, 0.8 behind him. And he's just kind of waiting for that mistake.
I had a great battle with Jeremy in the Porsche Cup yesterday, and same thing. I was just waiting for a mistake, and sure enough, on the last lap, it happened, so I could pass him. It was great. And he's up 15 position, Jeremy.
It's amazing. And interestingly, so Lee Ellis, he is in P13. Okay, so he's in P2 in silver. Randy Zimmer is in P11, so he's currently in P1, leading that silver class. There were 5 cars between them, platinum cars. There's now just one, Ryan Chubb. So Lee has managed to get past all of those cars. I think a lot of them through attrition, because there's been a lot of back and forth between these guys, but he's kept out of trouble. And he's now, where are we? 6. He's 9 seconds behind Randy.
Well, Peter David is really pushing here to try to get the P19 on Charles.
Yep. Oh, red hot exhaust. Oh, he's gone over the grass. They all like grass cutting, don't they?
Yeah.
He hasn't lost any time. In fact, he's gained time by doing that.
Yeah.
And he's got a drive-through. So Peter David has a drive-through penalty.
Ouch.
That was his 4th, I'm assuming. I was watching as he went off. I was looking at his throttle trace, and he kept his foot in.
Oh, painful.
Yeah, painful. Very painful. And what do we have? We have 9 minutes left on the board. We did curse him, Nikos.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, here's Brian Banks doing exactly the same thing, cutting in the corner, but he spins around, and he's not gaining anything from that. So he's not getting a penalty for that either then. He's back on track safely. See what's going on.
Got a nice gaggle of cars. You've got Rich McKay, Peter David.
Oh, McKay goes on the inside, door to door.
Yeah, well, he hasn't spun him, so all fair. Well, not fair, but you get the gist. They can both carry on racing. And well, I mean, Peter has a drive-through penalty, so
and
you know
why?
why?
Wolfslander passing.
Yeah, Rich is letting him by. And now Peter needs to go into the pits to serve his penalty.
Less than 8 minutes remaining.
Now I'm assuming he's going to go in here right now. Yep, there he goes. Ducks in. Good boy, Peter.
McClellan pushing to try to take position from Mike Maleski. We're talking about P28.
Stefan Buckley is in P18. I guess he had some issues on the first lap, and he's made up a ton of places.
Yeah, and Nico says Stefan is my driver of the day.
And Peter David, stop and go. 30-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Bad boy, Peter.
One more nail in the coffin for his race.
Yeah.
Sorry to see that. Matthias Holmberg. I assume you're from Sweden. Very Swedish sounding name. We say hey to everyone from Sweden. Okay, little recap here. We have Peter Wolfslander working himself through the traffic in P1 right now for Platinum Group. Johan Larsson, P2, and Chris Moses, P3 for the Platinum. And for the Silver, we have Zimmer in P1 right now, comfortable in front of Lee Ellis. And Stuart Charles is P3 for the Silver. I want to see what Stuart Charles did last time. Looking through the leaderboard from last one.
There's a nice little battle going on between Richard Colomb and, is it Malcolm McClellan?
I think it's Michael, yeah.
Michael? So yeah, in P27 and 28, but there's only half a second between them, and Mike Maleski is right behind them as well. So, and these guys are getting blue flags. Yep. Paolo Nove is behind them, trying to lap them. Richard Colomb goes wide. don't think he did that on purpose, but either way, Paolo will be happy that he did that.
Yeah.
And McClellan was able to get by Richard because of that, and now Willie Owens is challenging Richard Colomb. You know, you're not going to get by there.
Oh, quite spicy there, Colomb and McClellan.
Yeah, very, very much so. And you have Steve Young trying to lap these guys as well. So, you know, everyone's racing each other or trying to lap the guy in front, and it's all a bit messy. Yeah, Matthias, I agree. Imola, for me, Imola is like, I would say top 3 tracks easily. Has a little bit of everything, it really does.
Yeah, I looked up the P3 for Charles in the silver group, and he didn't place for points last race, and the first race he was P10, so really good showing for him in P3 for silver today at Silverstone. Oh, Stefan Buckley spins. What happened? Look at the replay. Here he comes, just oversteers.
Yep.
Maybe the tires are starting to...
That's a cool car, though. Look at that. His Coca-Cola livery is brilliant.
Very nice.
I tell you, a really interesting battle here is Willie Owens. He's in P28, right? And he's been, you know, going at it, just trying, and it's paying off now. He's really hounding Richard Colomb. I can imagine that Willie's got a really big grin on his face right now because he is racing these guys. He's racing them hard. And I would even stick my neck out and say that he's faster than these guys that are currently ahead of him. It's just a matter of time, and just be a little bit patient with the guy in front. And Willie, you're going to get past. And he's got Mike Molesky and Brian Banks right on his tail as well. So he's the meat in this sandwich.
Yeah, so that's a P9 he's driving right now, fighting for P8 for the silver group.
Yeah, that's really, really good going.
Great result for him. Willie Owens placed P11 last race.
Yep, so an improvement on where he was last race. You always want to see improvement, right?
Yeah. So we have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, so we should probably pick up the leader and...
No, Stuart Charles, something happened. There was an altercation. I think they came together, McKay and Charles.
Yeah.
I hope he gets going again, because that is not what he wanted. Charles now sits in 2, 3, 4, P5 for Charles. Aaron Shannon had a yellow flag on him, lifting to let McKay by.
All right, well, Peter just started his final lap.
All right, let's stay with him for a bit. The Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, the only battle in the top 6, I mean, it is a close one, is Patrick Larson is now half a second behind Craig Holmes for P4.
Bruce Hopkins is on the chat. Obando is chasing Ollie for P14.
Yeah. Bruce says he ran out of talent, lack of abilities.
Well,
I don't think so.
It's a fair assessment, maybe. Laszlo Nemeth is off track. Yeah, I love the session setup here, where you go from dusk to dark.
So
nice.
Peter is on his last lap. He's trying to lap Peter LaFrance, and
yeah,
he just managed to get by him. But I could see, that was, didn't know where Peter LaFrance was was gonna go.
Yeah, he went
So
off track, France, and that's kind of dangerous because if he gets a spin, he can cause some trouble.
Well, he went off track, but he didn't lift.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so now what? So you definitely got to lift. He did eventually before they got to the corner. But either way, so Peter is in this last section. He's in the final section of this last lap here at Silverstones. Comes out of the final corner. He's got almost 13 seconds on P2. Absolute masterclass from him. Great work.
Yeah, I hope we're going to see him in the voice chat. I'm keeping an eye on that. Some nice fireworks gonna come off here. And that's it. Peter Wolfslener, the winner. Let's see where we have Randy Zimmer. Gonna come over the line too. Gonna see if Wolfslener is coming up in the voice channel. And here we go. Here's Zimmer. No, he's not coming over the line yet. So Zimmer and Ellis.
Yep. Zimmer in P10 overall, but P1 in his group. See the celebrations going on. It goes down the Wellington Straight. He'll sleep well tonight, I think, won't he?
Yeah, up 7 positions from his starting point. And then Lee Ellis, and the leader is then the P3. I don't see Wolfslener, unfortunately. But there we are, Zimmer, winner for silver. So let's get into the pre-show action, or the post-show action rather. Let me get my interview screen up.
Yep.
I'm gonna get Zimmer in, Randy Zimmer into commentary, and I don't see Wolfslener in there, unfortunately. So, Mr. Randy Zimmer.
Hello.
So, how was your race? Looked like you.
Moments of terror, but mostly boring.
Yeah, it's quite a track to race. Did you have any troubles with the changing
The temperature.
Temperature and
I practiced all week, so I had a pretty good setup that maintained fairly well through the whole thing.
Yeah. And did you have any specific battles, or was it kind of lonely, the race?
I did have a little side-to-side action over at Stowe, but everybody made it through okay.
So Randy, what was your mindset though? So there was a point for a long time where you're leading the silver group, but you had 5 platinum cars between you and the second place guy in your group, which was Lee Ellis. And those guys behind you, so you weren't really racing them for points, but where was your mindset about where to place your car, whether to let them overtake or what?
Well, if they made a mistake, I'd go by. But the plan was just to follow, and as long as everybody kept going okay, it was fine. But if they did a goof, I'd try to go. So I know the gaps tighten up toward the end, or they can tighten up. So it was mostly an hour of qualifying laps for me.
Yeah, you did a great job, mate. You total domination of your group. Congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm going to see if one last look to see if we have Mr. Wolfslener.
I pulled Peter in. He's in the chat.
Oh, great. Congratulations, Peter.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. Krista and Jonathan. Thank you for the stream and for the invitation.
Yeah, so good race for you. You placed P10 last race, and you won the first race. So
yeah, the last race was I messed up. Yes, it was. I miscalculated the tires and the how fast the track is drying up, and then I had some incident in the pit lane. But anyhow, this was the past, and so yes, today was a kind of a compensation of the last race.
Yeah, did you have a very lonely race you felt, or did you? How do you maintain your?
No, actually,
your pace?
It's like I was a bit lucky at the beginning when I saw that Johan, my teammate Johan Larsson and Mr. Maris, they had some fight. So that means as long as they are fighting, I can pull away. And then it was kind of managing the situation. And it was kind of tricky at the end, or let's say close to the pit stop, when the field mixed up again. Some people already in the pits and came out. So actually, I went about 3 laps earlier into the pits due to the traffic, as I scheduled there. Yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah, sorry.
You made like a Mika Hakkinen-like start. You made an absolutely blistering start. I think you made the best start of anyone. In the top 20, you were a good second ahead of anyone at the end of the first lap. So that was absolutely phenomenal. But it's interesting to hear what you were saying about the pit stop. So when you're in the lead and you have literally 40 cars behind you, what are you thinking? Are you thinking to go as late as possible, or are you thinking because you don't want to pit and come out in traffic? So what is your mindset when it comes to that pit strategy?
Actually, it's in relation to the Nürburgring race when I knew that my tires are cooking up. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go into the pits, change to dry tires, but I come out in the middle of the field. And one of my teammates, I think it was Johan Larsson last time, he did exactly that. And so that's what I'm doing. I try to let all the people already do their pit stop in order to avoid any incident into the pit stop or traffic. So that was my schedule, my plan. But since the others have been already made their pits, so and I didn't want to interfere their race too much because they're also fighting for position. And say, okay, I go into the pits and let them go.
Yeah,
nice. Well, congratulations, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next race is Valencia, so we'll see you then. So start practice.
This is not one of my favorites. This is not one of my favorite tracks. They have so many hidden track cuts.
Yeah, that's it's a tough one. So. Yeah, thank you so much
thank you very much
for the entertainment, Mr. Zimmer and Wolfslener, the winners of Platinum and Silver.
Congratulations to Johan Larsson also, and to Mr. Chris Moses for the podium, and also Patrick Larsson, another teammate.
Yeah, I know you pulled all these guys in to the GT3 racing, so appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm
great, strong drivers.
Hey, do you hear that? I'm hearing teammates. I think we need to start having teammates conversations here, Krista.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, then. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yep, thank you.
So thank you, everyone on the stream. We thank the sponsors, Sim3D, Syndeo, and Castle and Cauldron. You can find us on SIMGRID. We're a group of racers 50 years and older. So if you want to join us, connect with us on Discord or Facebook, get age verified, and you can get invitation links to the championship. So this is championship season number 8, and we have just done 3 races out of the 8. So next race is Valencia. So we'll see you then. Thank you for watching, guys, and hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.